Cognitive science has traditionally defined theory of mind as a language-dependent module unique to human beings, a specialized mental mechanism designed to decipher the private thoughts of others. Biological interaction relies on the detection of physical patterns. Organisms detect and synchronize with external signals, rather than accessing hidden mental states. This process is defined as strain coupling, the detection, matching, and prediction of physical behavioral signals emitted by other agents in the environment. We can track this process using the Brain Kinematics Model, a framework that treats cognition as dynamic flows of physical strain, and continuity theory, which maps these flows across a single evolutionary spectrum. Human cognition occupies the extreme end of an unbroken physical continuum of strain integration. At the foundational level of the evolutionary ladder, inter-agent interaction exists as reflex coupling. In its simplest form, a raw environmental input hits a sensory known and generates an isolated, localized strain spike within the organism. A sudden shift in the environment triggers a mechanical contraction, instantly firing the animal out of danger. This organism holds no internal representation of the predator. The reaction occurs without a stored model of the other agent. This is a closed physical loop, pure stimulus followed by immediate motor response, requiring zero global integration across the brain. This raw input-output circuit establishes the architectural baseline for all higher consciousness. Mammals and birds exhibit a second layer of integration, emotional coupling. The mammalian brain incorporates a central amplification node, the amygdala, into the primitive base loop. When a signal such as a vocal tone or a dominant posture hits the amygdala, it pulses a rhythmic wave of emotional resonance across the entire network. This resonance acts as a high-speed carrier signal. It synchronizes the brain's architecture to a unified frequency. This allows for rapid behavioral synchronization across separate agents, manifesting as herd panic or canine empathy. Emotion functions as a physical mechanism for mid-scale network synchronization between organisms. In primates and corvids, the system reaches the phase of intentional coupling. The brain begins routing strain signals through the hippocampus and prefrontal structures, enabling memory integration and sequence planning. This allows the brain to form a proxy node. The network generates a discrete internal map of the external agent it is observing. This establishes an I-other polarity. The self-network can now interact with an internalized version of the other. The animal runs an internal simulation, cycling through predictive outcomes against the proxy's goals before taking physical action. A crow will recache its food specifically when it observes another agent nearby. The brain has simulated the other's potential to steal. The external world is now physically internalized, transforming the other into a dynamic, playable model inside the self. Human cognition is defined by symbolic recursive coupling. Comparative neuroimaging by James Rilling indicates that humans, macaques, and chimpanzees share the same base neurological hardware. All three species utilize the default mode network, a distributed system active during rest and internal thought. Human uniqueness lies in the functional connectivity density between these shared nodes. The human DMN is an integrated field of high-capacity pathways. This density enables a global strain integration field. The signal becomes recursive, allowing the brain to model nested intentions, thinking about what someone else is thinking. This capacity is supported by the arcuate fasciculus, a white matter tract connecting the brain's language centers. In humans, this tract shows significantly higher volume and connectivity, functioning as a high-bandwidth strain conduit. This conduit allows for the symbolic encoding and transmission of complex geometric strain patterns. We experience this as language. Language and theory of mind represent a physical phase transition, occurring when network connectivity reaches critical mass. We can observe the robustness of this system by examining what happens when it is cut off from external sensory input. Without external signals to anchor the network, the internal loop maintains its own momentum. The high-density connections allow the system to stimulate itself, using stored memory units as the strain source. In decoupled strain interaction, the structurally encoded internal models of other agents continue to fire within this loop as discrete autonomous clusters. The persistence of these internal agents in the absence of external stimuli constitutes the human dream state. Dreaming indicates that the brain's internal representations of others have become so stable they function as self-sustaining strain clusters. This framework scales from the internal loops of a single brain to the macro interaction of a society. Language is symbolic strain transmission, allowing one brain to pass a compressed proxy directly into another. Advanced theory of mind enables shared modeling, tethering separate brains together via stable pathways. This forms an expanding lattice of prediction, persisting across generations independent of individual nodes. This self-sustaining macro network is cumulative culture, the societal accumulation of stable strain patterns. Mind reading is the continuous evolution of strain physics, scaling from the localized twitch of a cell to the interconnected equilibrium of human civilization.